Hey, and there's 161 of you already there. I love it when that happens. That means you've all been chatting away amongst yourselves, doesn't it? Like when we do a members live. Have you all been chin wagging? Let me just
what sort of a day have you had?
get you up.
I've had a lovely day. Got up early, which I'm really liking. Didn't have too much to do, which was lovely. Chilled in the garden with the kids, which was so nice. Got a bit of a tan. Played with Kiki like when she was a little kid in the cold tub, we're calling it, because we've got cold water in it. And then I cooked 5 guys for all the guys, but you'll have to wait for the vlog to see what happened.
I gardened like a nutter.
Mark has
I edited
done
like
so
a thunder.
much
I
gorgeous
wrote like
stuff
a
in the
nutter.
garden.
So it's all been good. We both
Show them your rose. Show them your rose. Look at this rose Mark brought into me today from the garden. It's the most beautiful rose. Look. Look how many layers it's got to it. Isn't it beautiful? That's a David Austin rose, that.
It really is, isn't it?
Do you remember that beautiful one we had on the corner there that got devastated with when we did the building?
Yeah.
That
I
rose.
know, yeah, beautiful.
Heavy roses
your mum
like that.
put it in, didn't she?
Yeah.
So, life lessons, question and answer, mental health, and all that kind of malarkey.
Oh, look. Sabah has been using the first thought, second thought, and it's really been helping, so that's great. It does almost look like a peony, Connor, you're right. I love those peony roses. That's a good way to describe
Drew,
it.
hey, look, missed the quiz nights. Maybe you could do them. We're going to do them during the week.
We're going to be doing them in the week.
This is the polar opposite of a quiz night, if I'm honest. Normally we'd be doing Irish line dancing, but instead we're going to open our hearts and our minds and our souls.
It's just that there's a lot of quizzes to choose from on a Saturday night, so we thought it'd be better doing it somewhere else in the week when people are getting a bit fed up. Maybe a Thursday or something when you're looking for something.
Someone just asked, will there be a vlog soon? Yeah, we're playing a bit of catch up with vlogs, actually, if I'm honest. So we're just accruing the material and compiling it, and then there will be one, yes.
Oh, Holly got to see her boyfriend today.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I'm so happy.
Got to give him his birthday present.
Oh, I hope you gave him a big kiss too.
Oh, Paula Farron, you haven't missed the start. This is kind of the start. We've only been going for 2 minutes.
Right, so questions on life lessons. Now, Mark and I talk about on all sorts of things on here, we really do. And I would say that we are constantly in a state of trying to improve.
Oh, someone's just watched the masseuse. It was so gripping. The girl in the lift looked like Maddie. That's because
She's my cousin.
It's her cousin, yeah.
It's my dad's brother's daughter.
Funny.
Sorry. She's very beautiful. She's called Lara.
I don't think she
Sawalha.
ever quite knew what to make of that scene. It was a very odd lift scene, wasn't it? Sorry.
Look, Mrs. O, what times today? I'm living through a global pandemic. There are race riots across the USA, and I've just watched a rocket launch in space all in one day.
It's like we're in the 60s again, isn't it? It could be 69. I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
It's civil rights movement and the space race. I mean, this is ludicrous.
I had kind of a weird sort of anger almost to the space thing, because I was just like, I've got these horrendous riots. We've got these pig awful police getting away with murder. Well, not now. Now he's been arrested. The White's manslaughter, I don't know. And we've got this pandemic and people are shooting each other off to the moon. But I suppose it's life still.
But here's the thing, that moon mission, or it's not a moon mission, it's a space station mission, was planned way before this current eruption. So I agree. I think a lot of women feel that space exploration should be extraordinarily low down our pecking order. And actually, on social welfare and all that, so do I. But if it's gonna happen and it's happening, I'll be interested. Should we go for a first question on
Hang on a
topic?
minute. Somebody just said that the briefing was good today. We didn't watch it. We didn't think it'd be any good. Was it good?
Well, that's why we thought we'd have a bit of a corona-free chat, didn't we?
Yeah, corona-free today.
Corona-free.
Okay, so what's going to happen then, in case you missed it this morning, is... So one of us will be answering a question directly to you. We won't be chatting in the way that we do usually. And then while the other one looks for the next question to come up. So I think if we're each finding the question for ourselves.
For ourselves?
Yeah, because you would know better what you'd be better to answer.
Okay. So, So, and if you want your questions to be quite direct, or specific rather, can I take one then?
Yeah, you go first.
Gabrielle, do you recommend regular CBT sessions? Okay, well, CBT, what is it? Cognitive behavioural therapy. when you go and get assessed for any kind of CBT therapy, they will always sit down with you at the beginning of the session and say to you, what are your goals? What are your hopes? What are you wanting to try and rectify? And they'll usually recommend a 6 to 8 week course of treatment. So I would recommend, yes, you follow that course. I mean, in our lives and in our family life, numerous of us have gone back to CBT for what you could almost affectionately call a top-up, which is you've been given the sort of strategies and the formulas for trying to think your way, or, you know, or work your way through negative thinking. And yeah, absolutely. If you know the therapist, you can sort of drop back in with a few kind of acute problems that you're maybe having where you're sort of, you know, you're failing to kind of sort your shit out, or you're struggling to kind of manage negative thoughts or anxiety, and you can definitely top up. But I would recommend that, yeah, I mean, if whatever the assessment is, try and stick to what that original assessment is, because it is a form of therapy that is aimed at resolving very specific, very short-term goals. It's not about, I mean, I've been to so many therapy sessions, I'm sure you have too, Nads, where it feels like the journey is about sort of digging up the entire story of your life. And if I'm honest, I used to end up starting those kind of therapy sessions feeling a little bit sort of giddy and seasick at the thought of having to go through it, especially when you've done it a few times. I don't want to have to actually go there again. Do you know what I mean? So yes, is the kind of roundabout answer to that.
Catherine Higgins is new. Hello to you, Catherine
Hello.
Higgins. It's only me. A question for both of you. What have you learned about each other during this lockdown period? Do you think you'll come out as different people? I think the thing is about Mark and I, we know each other pretty well anyway, but I hope we do come out of it better people. I hope. I think when you cut out the rest of the world, you do have to get on. You have to fight to get on better, I think. Maybe we've bickered less, and that's good, because bickering is the most boring thing on the planet. But I think we knew each other very well anyway, didn't we?
Yes, but in you saying that, it almost still sounds like you're potentially sort of saying, I mean, are you sort of saying we know each other so well so there's nothing new? I feel like...
No, I'm not. No, it wasn't a negative thing.
Oh, no, I'm not saying it wasn't necessarily. No, but I was just thinking about, because we do know each other very well, and I was just trying to think, it's very hard to sort of sit here and say, oh, I've learned this new about
It wasn't
you.
a negative thing at all. I meant that we already have a very
Yeah.
good understanding of each other. So I personally haven't learned anything new about Mark.
Right. That's what I was trying to say. I don't necessarily think I've learned anything new about you, but I do feel like I've learned...
Remember stuff, maybe.
Well, no, I feel like I've learned how to be try to be differently around you. Try not to get hooked on every sort of, you know, word or phrase or feeling, you know, trying to... I mean, one of the biggest challenges, I think, in lockdown is to be together, but also have moments where you separate. And like yesterday, we all as a family very much sort of spent a lot of time in separate rooms doing separate things. And it was nice. And I think today was a little bit like that too, and I'm using the garden for that. So I think it's less about knowing more, but it's about knowing each other. I do feel like I've got to know you a bit more deeply.
I think remember stuff that may be forgotten.
Yeah.
Joyce Bryson, how do you deal with social anxiety? I think you should answer that one. And I'll look for the next
that's an enormous question. How do I deal with social
Just
anxiety?
maybe 3 top tips or something.
Well, I don't necessarily successfully deal with social anxiety all the time. I think one of the things you have to do with social anxiety is adopt some cognitive behavioral therapy thinking, which is one of the key components of social anxiety is projecting yourself into a social situation where you feel out of control. And when I say feel out of control, I don't mean like you're literally being taken on a crazy night out and you can't stop it, but you feel out of control of various things as simple as this. What will people think of you? What will you talk about with people? How will it be? What will the atmosphere be like? What will I do with awkward silences? For me, social anxiety has been over the years compounded by the fact that I don't drink. And I think alcohol is a massive solution. So some of the things I would say is try to avoid using too much alcohol as the only way to sort out your social anxiety, because that way lies trouble. 2, try to trust that whatever you're imagining a situation to be, it rarely ends up being what your fearful imagination allows it to be. And one of the things that I used quite recently, before lockdown, when we went out on a big night out that I was very nervous about, was I said to myself, and Nadia and the girls were very kind of accommodating of this, even though they wanted to kind of know that we were all going to have a good time, is say to yourself, you know what, I'm going to take us all, we'll go all right up to the door, but right at the last minute, if I choose not to want to go through the door, I'm free not to. You might find yourself just stepping over the threshold and going to a party. So, you know, that's kind of, I think those are 3 tips in there.
There you go.
Yeah.
Greg Horgan, where did you put your YouTube award? We don't know. Mark's got it. Karen R. Hi, I'm new too. What do you think you could do without that you had before lockdown? The thing is, I'm not really a big doer with, actually. I don't often go shopping. If I buy something, I buy it online. Like, I never go for a day around the shops, like clothes shopping or shoe shopping or anything like that.
You're not a very
I never
sort of-
go to the hairdressers. I don't go to beauty therapists or any. I don't do anything female. So all of that stuff
You
is
do
the
like
same.
your holidays.
I love
Getting away.
Yeah, but I couldn't not do with that. I like doing that. But I'm happy to just go away in the UK if that's all right. I don't have to go abroad.
Oh, I see. What can you not do with? Sorry.
Yeah, what would you do without? She's saying.
Sorry.
What have you not had that you wouldn't mind not having back?
Thousands of takeaways.
Takeaways. We really overdid the takeaways, and I want to be really strict about that afterwards. It's ridiculous. I think we spent a fortune over the years on takeaways, and all that salt and fat is so bad for you. So, yeah, not much really.
I've got one. RM's Jams. If Mark wasn't a filmmaker and Nadia wasn't a presenter actress, what career would you both want? What career do you think you would have? That's a really good question.
I would have a therapist. I'd like to be a therapist.
You'd like to be a therapist? Well, an ideal job I always wanted as a young child was to be an archaeologist. But if I wasn't a filmmaker, I think I would prefer, what would I like? I think I would have made a very good lawyer. I like being forensic with the detail, and I hate injustice. So I think I would have really liked being drawn to that if I hadn't gone into filmmaking.
Well, there's a good one there for you. That let's see. I hope it doesn't miss. Question for Nads. Body confidence in your early 20s. I'm a size 10, but don't look like the girls on Insta by any means. Short and not a tight bum, and huge bum. Oh, tight tum and a huge bum. Okay, so there's one coming up here that's you, Mark. Have a look for it while I answer this.
Okay. What was it? Give me a clue.
It was about... no, it won't have come up yet.
No, because it's spun to the end just as you finished, so I'm scrolling back. What did it say?
God,
what was it?
It now? Oh, Jesus. That she always feels like she's running out of time, that she has to... I struggle with myself,
okay.
so that's quite good for you. So, Ashley, oh my God, this is such a huge subject, and I am going to do regular Q&As on this, like Mark is on anxiety, because there seems to be such a desire from it all for you guys. So just top things, okay? If there's one thing that I could look back, I don't believe in regrets, because regrets change the path of everything, and everything that you have now that you love, you wouldn't have it.
I'm
But
pleased
if
that's
there's
your
one
attitude. That's changed my non-regrets.
thing that I do regret is the fact that I wasted so much of my life worrying about stuff like that. And I know it's a rite of passage. If you're in your 20s, it's kind of like something that most women, unfortunately, though I'm desperate to make a change in that, I'd love to change that in the world. If somebody in my 20s had got through to me and had changed that pattern of stinking thinking, that repetitive behaviour, when you should be getting on with life and doing other things that are so much more important, you're wasting life thinking about these things. Now, it's a tight tummy, what does that mean? A bum that's too big, says who? You know, and the thing is, I just wish I'd thought enough of myself to nourish my body well and to exercise, because I do feel like a different person when I exercise, and to not care, not to do it because it's going to change the way I look, because that's a road to hell. Exercising to change the way you look is hell. Hell on earth. Because it's never satisfied. You'll never be satisfied. But if you exercise to feel great and to feel strong, the other stuff does tend to fade away a bit. Please don't waste the years that I wasted. That's what I would say to you. Try and keep those nasty voices quiet in your head. Imagine when that nasty voice starts in your head about your tum's not tight, your bum's too big. Imagine that somebody's walked into your house and spoken to you like that. You would fucking call the police and kick them out and slam the door. We'll do the same thing with the voices in your head.
Good advice. Laura Francis, I struggle and have anxiety about the sense of running out of time. Oh, welcome to my club. I feel I need to hit life milestones at a certain time. Do you have any advice about this? I think that's a really, really telling question. I've spent most of my life chasing arbitrary milestones at arbitrary points in my life. And I'll give you examples. I will have made a feature film by the age of 27. I will have did it. And what I've done is I've always parked outside of myself a different milestone to the milestones I was achieving. So Nadia will know this one. You know, I haven't yet made my first feature film, but as she would point out to me, but you have had a very successful, for 10 to 14 years, production company that's made countless programs for television, That's something that very few individuals do. They often do it with, you know, so it's all about keeping in touch with the successes that you're having. And success and failure is a moot point, you know, it's about what makes your heart sing. So I think it is, I have had a lot of anxiety and given myself a lot of anxiety, but what you have to remind yourself is that these targets and destinations and these chapterized points in your life are arbitrary. Yes, there's a lot of peer pressure. There's always those people around you, and often they're on social media who've got everything and achieved everything. You know,
or
appear to. And of course, and this was really helped me once, many years ago. I remember thinking, when I was young, I was inspired by Spielberg, and he was the wonder kid of Hollywood. He made his first feature film when he was in his 30s, 20s, whatever. And I remember someone saying to me way back when I was at film school, something like, yes, you see the one filmmaker who at the age of 35 makes his first feature film and then goes on to da-da-da-da. But what you haven't seen is the thousands of other people who do it at another time in their life. So, you know, there's always going to be that sort of poster boy or poster girl that suggests that you do. My advice would be, I'm still here and I've still got my ambition to make my films and all that kind of stuff. You know, there is not a ticking time clock. There is no right or wrong way to do it. It is the system trying to bully you into believing you're a failure.
Xander Gibb. Yes, I did fancy Mark when I first saw him. Wonder Woman. Lucy Rose. Meditate before you go out and you will drink less and be more in control. Just deep breathing is enough to calm your nerves. And Wonder Woman, it's taken me my whole life to understand this. None of my family believe me, but it makes such a difference when you deep breathe. I just wanted to answer these few quick ones. Emma Carter. I'm either overeating or driving myself mad with politics. Not helping. I'm trying not to drink, but need to keep going. Mark, what do you think of that one?
Overeating or driving myself mad with politics, not helping. I'm trying not to drink, but need to keep going. It's very hard. It's very hard if you're, I mean, overeating is something that Nadia's talked about a lot, or driving myself mad with politics. I mean, if I'm honest, I think today I just about have hit my fill of coronavirus news and politics. It's almost like I've just hit a wall. It's like I've OD'd on it. It's like I've binged on it. It's like it's delivered me all the anxiety and stress that I've wanted it to. So I think what you need to do, Emma, is try and unpack.
It's great you've got consciousness of it,
Yeah, the fact that you've got consciousness of it means you can get, it's a little bit like, you know, when you get the lid to a tin of paint that's really hard to get off and no amount of scrabbling at it. The fact that you can say that message means you've got the end of the screwdriver just under the lip and you're just peeling it open. And if you can get that lid open, it is about sitting uncomfortably without those things. And what I would recommend, and I've done a little bit of it today, is there was a moment today where I can't remember what I was doing, but I purposefully left my phone out of my radar in another room. And the freedom I felt just for 5 to 10 minutes was joyful. I went out into the garden and I purposefully...
I did the same, I left mine plugged in here.
Oh, well, there you go. And, you know, normally I'm always wanted to film bits for Green for Good Health, but I thought, you know what, sod it. I'm going to do 10 minutes, 15 minutes just popping the phone away. And I know you're not talking about phones specifically. I'd find something that you can manage an amount of time away from and build on that and then apply it to other areas that you're worried about.
Because it's just about distraction. That's what it is. It's distracting from the feelings. And it's a really good line, and that's what I've taken from the CBT that I've had, that once we have consciousness of something, it's very difficult to deny it again.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's really good that you've noticed that you've seen that. Keep looking at it, keep investigating it, keep questioning it. When I did my mindfulness course, he talked a lot about that. You know, because when I first did mindfulness, I thought it was all about, lying down and relaxing. Actually, it wasn't. The course was very much about looking, investigating, inquiring, and questioning stuff that you do and why you do it. And
There's one that I want to find.
there was just a little one. How do you cope? Oh, Dat Cat. Now, I don't have panic attacks, but because Dat Cat says, how do you cope when you feel a panic attack coming? What I would say is when I've been around people that are having a panic attack, I'm always quite firm with them. Where obviously the paper bag, if you're really not breathing properly, is amazing. It's like a miracle when you get a brown paper bag and you just breathe in and out of it, moving the bag in and out. But absolutely, without a doubt, what works every time is getting the person out into the fresh air. Even if it's snow, rain, hail, anything, getting them out of one environment and into another. But Mark tends to lie down when he feels like he's having a panic attack, don't you?
Yeah, I do. For some reason, I find being horizontal on the floor suddenly stops the world. It's almost like by doing that, it stops the world charging around a little bit. I mean, quite literally. Joyce Bryson, welcome to as a family guest.
Victoria Bradwell,
Tara
I'm sorry you're having a shit time. Remember Victoria who split up with her boyfriend yesterday?
Any advice for
sweetie.
loneliness? In this current climate, it's incredibly hard, isn't it?
I suppose the one thing is, in the current climate,
that.
there are so many people that are lonely. And I think the thing with loneliness is it can appear that everyone else is having the best time, everyone else has the best. I know a very famous person who is in quite a famous marriage. I can't say who the person is. And this person, any one of you, if I asked you what you thought of this couple that are married, you would say, oh my God, they're so happy. They've got everything. They are in the most incredible place. And I know that is not the case. But to the outside world, oh my God, it looks like that. But I know the truth. And so the only reason I'm saying that is that can happen. It doesn't have to be a famous person. That happens in all of our communities, our streets, our places of work, our peer groups. So I think the first thing is to remember that not everybody is having a great time.
Yeah, even if they're with people.
And I think the other thing is you've only split up a couple of days, so you're right in the maelstrom of the pain. And what I would say is sit with the pain. Just sit with it. I think when I was younger and I used to break up with someone or something, I would always run to the next thing, run to get pissed or run to have a fling or run to do... And I regret that because it means that you're never really getting to know. Really look at why you broke up, because no two people ever break up because of one thing. Use it as a chance. This person was the person maybe that's going to lead to the next person, the right person for you. But first of all, get you right. Use this breakup as a chance to really interrogate. Be more honest with yourself than you've ever been in your life. List down at where you went wrong, where he went wrong, what you actually were putting up with that maybe you didn't want. Just start writing. Write all your feelings down, or talk all your feelings. If you're not a writer, it doesn't matter what it sounds like because nobody else is going to read it. It's just a way for you to have a cathartic purge. And honestly, we did a podcast, didn't we, a few weeks ago about breaking up. Was it on our How to Stay Married So Far? Is it just called Breaking Up?
No, it's Heartbreakers and
Heartbreakers.
Heartbroken. Heartbreakers and
Yeah, maybe
Heartbroken.
have a listen of that, Victoria.
Tara Fitzgerald, I'd love advice on perfectionism. I never follow any dreams or hobbies because if I'm not good at something the first time, I give up. My life feels like it's destined to be very unfulfilling. That's a problem
sometimes with our kids.
Well, it's a problem with our kids, but it's a problem with all of us, I think. I think you included. I think we all disallow ourselves the opportunity to fail repeatedly at something. And here's the thing, and here's the kind of buzzword about the word fail. What feels like a failure to you absolutely is the most successful thing you could have done.
Could be the stepping stone
Because
to
it's
success.
it's only through. I mean, it sounds trite. A lot of these things are trite because there is a truism in them. You know, if you look at, say, artists. I mean, a good example is like artists. You know, there are many artists who have to go through thousands of sketches. I get really annoyed when I go to art galleries and I see all the sketchbooks of an artist put out. My old friend Jim was an artist, and he used to say this to me a lot. He'd say, "Mark, this artist would not have wanted his fucking sketchbooks put in a gallery." And his point was that this was all the preparatory work. Beautiful to us, we wouldn't see it as failures, but to the artist it was a failure. So the point I'm trying to make is twofold. One, what is a failure to you could well be a success to someone else. Your pursuit of perfectionism is really a way of you preventing yourself from enjoying something. And I think someone else has just said somewhere else, if you can try and enjoy what it is you're doing, ride with what you perceive to be failures in doing it, i.e., I mean, a good example is trying to draw something. Dismal. You could argue they're dismal all the time, but I promise you, you'll get better and better and better. And at some point you will look back and you'll go, oh, right, look at the improvements. And you won't even look at the old things as bad. You'll just see them as what they were, which was, you know, young and new and novice and all that kind of stuff. So it's hard, but I think if you can embrace failure and give yourself time to sit with something, I think as a culture and as people, we are encouraged. In fact, I read out a quote to you today, Nadia, didn't I, about boredom. It was a really interesting piece. A book's just been published arguing that the state, the system, I mean, I'm not talking about Big Brother here, but the capitalist, money-hungry system has a vested interest in us being bored. Because in boredom, we then choose to pick things up to distract us, and that obviously means we often spend money. But they never want us to completely find escape and success in these things. They want to distract us again and again and again. And I would say you're stopping the flow of that if you try and find something that really makes your heart sing and just keep going at it. Mine, for me, a small one for me, like in my leisure life rather than professional life, is gardening. I'm loving changing the garden, but it's taken 2 or 3 years to get to a place of not feeling like a total failure.
Kenzie, advice on not caring what people think of you. I do things to please everyone else as a fear of getting judged is overwhelming. Well, I mean, I just think most people would identify with this, and it's about finding the balance that you don't become somebody that just doesn't give a shit what anybody thinks, because that's not nice either. No. And I actually, when people say, God, I don't give a shit what anyone thinks, I always feel really sorry for them, because it's not the truth. Because if you do it with aggression, then it's not the truth. If you do it with anger, then it's not the truth. You're deeply hurt and you're trying to cover it up. But I know we laugh about this all the time, but my saying that I thought was Gandhi, but actually it was Dr. Seuss. For years I thought it was Gandhi. Those that mind don't matter. Those that mind don't matter. Those that matter don't mind. It's a great way of living. It's like, if somebody you care about thinks badly of you, then yeah, that's something worth thinking about. If it's some fucker that you don't know, or you don't particularly like, then what does it matter? And also, think about what has been my intention. If somebody is cross, like, we have to put up with that tenfold. And the thing is, I've been in a soap opera, so the amount of judgment I got when I was a soap opera, I've been a loose woman for 20 years, you know, I'm on social media. So you can imagine the kind of things that are said about me, you know, regularly there's things that are just not true at all, written on online newspaper things, and, you know, so I have been able to get a thicker skin than a lot of people would have the chance to, because I get a lot of it. But I'm pretty proud of myself that I'm not bitter with it. I don't think, oh God, you're all fucking arseholes and I all hate you. I just feel sad for people that feel nasty towards me, because I think it's a horrible thing to feel nasty towards somebody else. So if you can just think, ask yourself this, what was my intention? If somebody is taking this the wrong way, was I being unkind? Was I being unpleasant? And if you really know the answer was no, then you have to let go of what people think of you, because you can't control that. It's all about control. Now, if you've done something that you know isn't quite right, which of course what we all do, and you are worried about what people think, well, then that's a conscience, and that's the right thing to do, and it's the right thing to interrogate it and think about how you might correct it. But if you think something you have done and you're happy with the way, like I'll often say this to you, and I'll say, no, I'm happy with that. I know where I stand. It's what I try and teach the girls as well. I'm happy with what I did there. 10 people could stand here now going, oh, you're disgusting or you're awful. That wouldn't bother me. But if there's a little part of me that thinks, was I being a bit manipulative, or was I being a little bit unkind, or was that not really fun gossip, was that more bitchy gossip, then it will really hurt me if I hear somebody saying that, because there's truth in it.
Christina King, do you think children of alcoholic parents can forgive them? My father is an alcoholic and I've not spoken to him for 20 years. It's a tricky one, this.
Is he still drinking?
Exactly, that was going to be my first question. If he's still an active alcoholic, it's going to be very hard. I think you can probably get to a place, and if you were to go to somewhere like Al-Anon, they would help you find this, get to this place. That's for friends and families of alcoholics, or to the adult children of alcoholic parents is another one. 12-step meetings, and they all have websites you can go to. Do you think, look, anyone has the capacity to forgive anyone for anything. I do think in the instance where a parent has been an alcoholic and has conducted themselves in whatever manner, I don't know the details of yours, but if you've not spoken to him for 20 years, I'm not in the business, and they don't even say in 12-step recovery meetings, go out, find people and just say sorry to them. There is a make amends thing, but there is a caveat to the make amends, which is, not if it's going to cause further upset or distress to you or to the other person. So, it's a two-way street, total forgiveness. On the one hand, you want to hear that your father feels a sense of responsibility and himself is aware and has a consciousness. The thing is about forgiveness, usually whatever's happened cannot be changed. Invariably, when you sit at the cusp of whether you're going to forgive someone or not, the thing that's happened has happened for a fact. So you can't change that. So it really does, unfortunately, fall to the person in the victim situation, if you like, the person who feels aggrieved. It really does sit with you to decide whether you can forgive or not.
Can I say something on that?
Yeah.
I feel really strongly about this, actually. I think that forgiveness doesn't necessarily mean you let that person back into your life. Because if it's a toxic relationship, then that would be dangerous for you, and it's not good for the alcoholic that you're supporting by seeing them. But if you can work really hard on forgiving them, then you take a lot of darkness out of your own soul. So if you can say, I forgive them, they have a disease, because I believe alcoholism is a disease. It's a selfish, it can manifest itself in a very selfish, unkind, brutal way. But to forgive is to allow yourself to move on. But that doesn't mean you then have to forgive and make up and spend time with that person. You can forgive from a distance just because it's healthy for your soul. That's what I would say.
Yeah, good point. Belinda Adams, Mark, for me, I know the reasons my anxiety started as I've had help recognising it. For the past 10 years, working relentlessly, I have been able to manage it. This lockdown has brought the feelings back. Yeah, I think lockdown, here's two things. One of the things that is key to anyone recovering from any kind of anxiety, addiction, is trying to find gratitude. And I'll tell you one thing I have, in the last 2 or 3 days, been profoundly grateful for, and that is the capacity for me to escape into my mind and into creative outlets, whether it be writing, whether it be filming, whether it be editing, whatever it is, or reviewing, whatever. So I'm grateful for that. But one thing that lockdown does it throws everyone back on their heels, doesn't it? We've all been kind of gone, boom, now look at yourself stripped of all the distractions, stripped of, and when I say distractions, I don't mean they're hollow or meaningless. I mean, work is a big distraction, to say your kids being, there are big justified distractions in life. And this lockdown has really, really forced us all to examine our souls. So yeah, I'm not surprised that this has pushed you back. But you know what? The weird old phrase, the great thing is getting your feelings back. The worst thing is getting your feelings back. I think Nadia said it about something earlier. Try and perhaps sit with that awkwardness Because what always happens is you will come through the other side of a negative emotion. You always, just like good times end. I always use the analogy with the kids. You know you're going on holiday and you're excited, but the holiday's going to end and you don't want it to end. Well, equally, bad things end too. They do, Your circumstances might not change massively for the better, but the intensity of that negativity does pass.
Oh, wow. Guys, thank you so much.
Yeah, that was meaningful.
You always really help us because it reminds us of the things that we are trying to, continuously work on and correct, because we just fuck it up all the time.
And also sometimes it's easy to forget.
This too shall pass, and give, exactly.
Yeah, and it's also sometimes it's really easy to forget. It's like at the beginning when you said give us 3 points. Sometimes it's easy to forget that we're even in possession of of some facts or help strategies. So it is really useful to be reminded, isn't it? Oh.
Well, quiz night will be
We
at
love
some
you too,
point
Ashley,
in the week.
Gardner.
In some
Thanks,
point in
Sander.
the week, we'll do quiz night. I hope that Rosie is okay. That
Yeah, I
contacted us.
know. I keep thinking about that. Yeah.
But thank you so much, guys, and we'll be live tomorrow, 11 a.m. Join us here.
Coffeed, and of course it's the
Oh,
21st
yeah, Mark
Sunday show. I might be, because I might have got most of it edited.
If
later.
he's got it edited,
Yeah.
he'll be with us.
Yeah.
If not, and if any of you want to join the members area, there's a little box just under here with join, and we do an extra live every week there, and we do the No Name Sunday show, and it's just basically extra content, and that's $1.99 a month. But you don't lose anything on the main channel at all, so don't worry about that, and you never will.
Yeah.
We swear it. We swear.
Sleep tight,
And
guys.
tomorrow on the No Name Sunday show, I have made mango coconut mini pavlovas, delicious, and mozzarella stuffed meatballs.
Swimsuit section. We need a swimsuit section.
What's the swimsuit section?
I think Xander's suggesting a swimsuit section. I can sport some Speedos.
All right,
All right,
everybody.
guys. Lots of love. Sleep
Night-night.
tight. Sleep tight.
Bye.
Bye.